What if I told you that in 2025 alone, over $4.2 billion in digital assets vanished into thin air? It wasn't because the market crashed. It was because of exchange hacks, inside jobs, and platform insolvencies. While the average retail investor is staring at their smartphone screen, feeling a false sense of security because they see a green number on an app, the world's wealthiest individuals are doing something completely different. The billionaires, the sovereign wealth funds, and the institutional titans, the people who actually move the markets, are not keeping their Bitcoin on exchanges. They are going dark. They are moving their wealth into what insiders call cold storage. Here is the brutal truth for 2026. If your Bitcoin is sitting on an exchange right now, you don't actually own it. You own a claim on a database. You own a promise from a corporation. And in a world defined by cyber warfare, shifting regulations, and government overreach, a promise is the fastest way to go broke. If you don't understand cold storage today, you are one frozen account or one server malfunction away from total financial extinction. This isn't just another crypto video. This is your survival guide to the new financial order. We are fixing your security right now. Welcome back to Future Freedom 360, the channel where we treat wealth as a systematic science, not a wish. I'm your host, and today we're exposing the strategy that separates the Bitcoin survivors from the casualties. Look at the data. It's screaming at us. As of early 2026, on-chain analytics from Glassnode reveal a historic shift. Over 68% of all Bitcoin in circulation hasn't moved in more than a year. But here's the kicker. Exchange balances have plummeted to a 10-year low. This isn't an accident. It's a mass exodus. The smart money is pulling their sats off Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken at a record pace. They are taking delivery of their private keys and locking them in the digital equivalent of a nuclear bunker. Why? Because they know something about the fragility of the 2026 financial system that you don't. And by the end of this video, you're going to be armed with the same level of security as a Silicon Valley billionaire. Part 2. The IOU Trap and the Fantasy of Ownership. Let's start at the absolute foundation, because 90% of people get this wrong. What exactly is cold storage? To understand it, you first have to understand the IOU trap. When you buy Bitcoin on a centralized exchange, you are essentially participating in a digital fantasy. You think that Bitcoin is yours. But in reality, that exchange is just a giant black box. You have an entry in their spreadsheet. If that company gets hit with a regulatory freeze, or if their CEO decides to take a permanent vacation with the private keys, your money is gone. Does that sound dramatic? Just look at history. Ask the 1.5 million FTX customers who lost access to over $8 billion in 2022. Ask the people who trusted Celsius, BlockFi, or Voyager. They all had balances on their screens right until the second the withdraw button was disabled. All those assets were exchange held. All those people became unsecured creditors overnight. Cold storage is the cure. It means you take physical, offline possession of your private keys. Your private key is the master password, the digital signature, that proves to the entire blockchain that you are the owner of those coins. Think of the Bitcoin blockchain as a massive, infinite wall of high-security lockers in a public square. Your Bitcoin stays in those lockers. It never actually leaves the blockchain. Your hardware wallet is not the locker. It is the sophisticated, unhackable, offline machine that generates the physical key for that locker. When you leave your money on an exchange, you're giving your key to a valet parker at a busy hotel. You hope they're honest. You hope they don't lose the key. You hope the hotel doesn't burn down. But when you use cold storage, that key never leaves your pocket. It exists as a mathematical seed phrase, protected by an air gap. No hacker in a dark room halfway across the world can click their way into your wallet because your device isn't connected to the internet. You are literally using the laws of physics and the power of cryptography to protect your wealth. The phrase you need to burn into your brain for 2026 is this: not your keys, not your coins. Period. Anything else is just a gamble. Part 3. The Strategy of the Giants. Alright, pattern interrupt. Let's stop talking about retail traders and start talking about the predators of Wall Street. Look at MicroStrategy, now officially operating under the brand Strategy. As of Q1 2026, they hold an astronomical 528,000 Bitcoin. Do you think Michael Saylor, one of the sharpest minds in corporate finance, leaves $50 billion sitting on a website? Absolutely not. Institutional titans use what we call multi-signature cold storage. These are deep glacier vaults engineered to require multiple physical private key approvals from different geographic locations before even a single Satoshi can be moved. They've built a fortress that makes it impossible for a single point of failure to destroy them. But here is the part that should really wake you up. Nation-states have joined the game. El Salvador doesn't keep its national treasury in a hot wallet. Bhutan, a country that has quietly become a global mining powerhouse, stores its Bitcoin offline. Even the US government, which currently holds over 200,000 BTC from historic seizures like the Silk Road case, manages that wealth through high-security, air-gapped custody. So ask yourself the ultimate wise money question. If billion-dollar corporations, trillion-dollar asset managers, and sovereign governments refuse to trust exchanges with their Bitcoin, why on earth would you? Are you more secure than the US Treasury? Do you have better hackers than BlackRock? If the answer is no, then leaving your life savings on an exchange isn't an investment. It's a massive, unnecessary risk. Part 4. The Wise Money Action Steps. The Armor. The time for theory is over. You came here for freedom, and freedom requires action. Here are your 3 non-negotiable action steps to secure your estate today. Action Step 1. The Hardware Barrier. If you hold more than $500 worth of Bitcoin, you are officially a target for digital thieves. You need a dedicated hardware wallet. In 2026, the 2 gold standards are the Ledger Flex and the Trezor Safe 5. These devices retail between $100 and $250. Think of this as the cheapest, most effective insurance policy you will ever buy in your life. If you can afford the Bitcoin, you must afford the vault. No excuses. Action Step 2. The Analog Seed. When you set up your hardware wallet, it will give you 12 or 24 random words. This is your seed phrase. This is your money. If you lose the device, these words will recover your fortune on a new one. Most people write these on a piece of paper and hide it in a drawer. That's a mistake. Paper burns. Paper rots. Ink fades. For the wise money elite, we use steel or titanium seed plates. These are small, fireproof, waterproof plates where you punch or engrave your words. Imagine the worst-case scenario. Your house burns down. Your laptop is a melted puddle of plastic. Your phone is gone. Your paper notes are ash. But if you have a titanium seed plate, you can walk into the ruins, find that plate, wash off the soot, and boom! Your entire Bitcoin fortune is recovered instantly. That is what true wealth defense looks like. Store this backup in at least 2 separate, secure physical locations. The Golden Prohibition. Never ever take a photo of these words. Never type them into a notes app. Never store them in the cloud. In 2026, AI-driven malware can scan your photo library in milliseconds to find seed phrases. Stay analog. Stay offline. Stay safe. Part 5. The 2026 Fraud Radar. Stop. This segment could literally be the difference between retiring wealthy and losing everything. As Bitcoin becomes mainstream in 2026, scammers have become incredibly sophisticated. They aren't just sending poorly spelled emails anymore, they are running multi-million-dollar psychological operations. Here are the 3 most lethal traps you need to avoid. The counterfeit hardware trap. Never, under any circumstances, buy a hardware wallet from Amazon, eBay, or a discount electronics site. Scammers are buying real devices, injecting them with malicious firmware, and reselling them. The moment you set up your wallet, your seed phrase is sent directly to the hacker. The rule: only buy directly from the manufacturer's official website, ledger.com or trezor.io. If the shrink wrap looks tampered with, send it back. The phishing war. You will receive high-priority emails or texts claiming your device has a security flaw or your account is being migrated. They will send you to a fake website that looks 100% like the real thing and ask you to verify your 24 words. Hear me clearly. No legitimate company, not Ledger, not Trezor, not even Bitcoin itself, will ever ask for your seed phrase. If someone asks for those words, they are trying to steal your life. The companion app mirage. There are hundreds of fake apps in the Google Play and Apple App Stores designed to look like official hardware wallet managers. In 2025, the FBI warned that these apps stole over $150 million in just 3 months. Only download software directly from the links on the manufacturer's official website. Action Step 3. Verify the source. Before you move a single Satoshi, cross-reference the URL. Check recent security advisories on Reddit's r/Bitcoin or r/cold storage. In 2026, your curiosity is your liability, but your due diligence is your shield. Part 6. The Macro Checkmate. The big picture. Let's zoom out. Why does this matter more in 2026 than ever before? We are living in a macro environment where global debt has shattered the $320 trillion mark. Central banks are in a desperate race to devalue their currencies just to keep the system afloat. Inflation is no longer a temporary problem. It is a permanent feature of the fiat system. Bitcoin's market cap crossed $2.5 trillion earlier this year. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF has surpassed $50 billion in assets. This is the financialization of Bitcoin. And here's the contrarian truth that the bankers don't want you to hear. The more institutional Bitcoin becomes, the more centralized the risk becomes. If you keep your Bitcoin with a custodian or on an exchange, you are still part of the old system. You are still subject to their bank holidays, their withdrawal limits, and their bail-in risks. The safest Bitcoin in the world, the only Bitcoin that is truly free, is the Bitcoin that is invisible to the system. Invisible means off the exchanges, off the government-regulated custodians, in your hands, in cold storage. This isn't about being paranoid. This is about being a sovereign individual. The billionaires figured this out a decade ago. The nation-states are building their vaults as we speak. You have a window of opportunity right now to take actual ownership of your digital future before the next systemic crisis forces everyone else to scramble. Don't be the person crying on Twitter because your exchange went dark. Be the person who isn't even bothered because your keys are safe in your safe. Part 7. Conclusion and your wealth defense. Your wealth defense starts with this one decision. Move your Bitcoin to cold storage. Do it systematically, do it safely, and do it today. If this video opened your eyes, if it gave you that aha moment about what ownership really means, do one thing for your future. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. At Future Freedom 360, we don't just give you news, We give you the armor you need to thrive in the 21st century economy. Now I want to hear from you. Be honest with me. Drop a comment below. Are you currently using cold storage, or is your Bitcoin still sitting on an exchange? There is no judgment here. We all started somewhere. But clarity is the first step to freedom. And stay tuned, because our very next video is a complete step-by-step masterclass on how to set up your first hardware wallet, from the moment you open the box to your very first secure transfer. You do not want to miss that one. I'm your host for Future Freedom 360. Take the keys, take the power, and I'll see you in the next one.